You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast, where you'll learn step by step how to meet and seduce beautiful women. Whether you're looking for one night of fun, a week-long fling, or a long-term relationship. I'm your host, Trip, and the episode starts now. Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I'm your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. Welcome to another episode. Just want to let you know that there are coaching spots available. There are coaching spots available if you want to get coached by me, Trip himself, and we are taking on some coaching students right now. If you want to apply and see if you qualify to receive coaching, what I want you to do is check out the episode notes here, and I'm going to put a link to the application. So you'll get a direct link to the application in the show notes. Check it out, fill it out, be as specific as possible in your answers, and then we'll see if you qualify to join the program, which I'm very excited about. I'm getting back into coaching now. I took a little bit of a break for a little while, but now we are starting it up again, and I'm ready to help you. So check it out, fill it out, and I will be excited to hopefully have you in the program. All right, moving along today, we have a great episode. Something I want to talk about. I talk about it a little bit, not too much. Social circle, i.e., making friends with lots of people and meeting women through that path, okay? Meeting women through the path of the social circle. What does that mean? That means that you are making a lot of friends, right? Building the social circle and not directly hitting on the girls that are part of the social circle, okay? Now, this seems sort of counterintuitive. You know, a lot of guys are like, oh, well, if there's a hot girl in my presence, or if there's a girl that I really like or I'm really interested in that is a friend, then, well, I want to go for her, Trip. Why would I not just go for her? She's right there. Well, you're going to have to, if you want to use this method, this system, you're going to have to sacrifice that. Okay, you're going to have to sacrifice that. And the reason why you would is because if you have a social circle, you have a group of friends, it could be a lot easier once you've made all these friends to consistently have new women to meet through the social circle. Also, benefits are just you have friends and you're doing cool stuff with cool people, right? If you hit on every single girl that you ever come across and you don't make any girl friends, right? Girls that are friends, well, then, you know, you're just going to be a dude with maybe some dude friends, which isn't the end of the world, but you want to have some girlfriends, okay? You want to balance it out a little bit. Get the female perspective every once in a while and have people to go out with. And then when you go out, you will have hopefully really amazing, cool, fun, and beautiful women around you to then, like I said, make it easier to meet other women because of this idea of social proof, which means that when a woman sees you with a very pretty woman, then she's going to assume that there is something about you that is awesome. And then she will be pre-attracted to you. It's very powerful, weird psychological stuff, but it does work. It does work. And mainly, you know, she's not the hottest girl in the world. It doesn't matter. Even if she's just cute and a cool girl and you seem to be getting along and having fun with this girl when you're out and another girl sees that, she thinks, okay, and by the way, this is all subconscious. She's not thinking this literally in her head, but subconsciously she's like, oh, okay, this guy gets women. He knows women. He is confident. You know, he has experience with women. And women want to know that. They want to know that you have experience with women. Okay, that means that you are wanted, that you are desired. Again, something about you is attractive. Okay, even if the woman is your friend, still there's something attractive about you that you have her as your friend. Very powerful. So the reason why I'm doing this episode is because I was just talking to a new friend of mine. He's much younger. He's in his early 20s. And he told me about his stepbrother that was doing something very similar to this. And it got me thinking, wow, this is really cool. And I wanted to share it with the podcast listeners, but more importantly, really go over something within this kind of new system that's really important for guys to know. You know, I was thinking about this, you know, kind of new system. I was like, oh, wow, that's very interesting that this guy did this. And don't worry, I'll tell you in a second. Bear with me here. But there was something about it that I was like, ooh, you got to be careful. There's a good lesson to be learned from it. Okay, let's just get into it. So basically, the system is this. This kid, I think he was maybe, I say kid because I'm 33. He was in his early 20s as well. What he did was he went to a yoga studio, which I always recommend going to because there's a lot of beautiful women who do yoga. And so he went to a yoga studio and said, you know what? I am going to go to this yoga studio. I'm going to make friends with every single girl. Doesn't matter how old she is, doesn't matter what she looks like. I'm just going to make friends with every single girl here. And what he ended up doing was he basically, without even knowing what social circle even means or meeting women through social circle, he basically built a whole social circle of all these amazing women at this yoga studio. Okay. And that's what he did. And voila, all these girls are always inviting him to go out, and he's got things to do, and he's meeting new people. And it was such a really cool, specific, concrete goal. He said, I'm going to this yoga studio. I'm not going to hit on any of these girls, but I'm just going to be friends with them, be a cool guy, be fun, be interesting, not be the guy who hits on them, befriend all of them, slam them all in the friend zone. And then from there, you have the social circle. And then, of course, we already described the benefits of that. Lots of girls to go out and hang out with. And so I thought about this and I thought, now this is a little dangerous. Okay, a little dangerous. And this is dangerous because as much as I love, and when I say dangerous, I mean giving this advice is a little dangerous. Because I can see a lot of guys being like, oh, this is a great idea, but not do what I'm saying to you. I feel like they're going to go and they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to build this social circle and I'm going to be friends with all these girls, but then I'm going to try to hit on them eventually and get with them. And they're not going to use it to the actual degree of what I'm talking about. And so the point I want to make here is that a lot of guys do this, is they go into this idea of making friends with girls and then, trying to secretly make friends with them while they're trying to actually, get into their pants or get them to be their girlfriend, whatever it is. It's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous territory because then you're training yourself to, again, not just friend zone them, but try to get with them. And so the idea here, the big idea is this actually does happen, okay? When I say this, I mean, when you actually end up making a big social circle of friends, the bonus is that sometimes those girls will end up being attracted to you and you will end up hooking up with them or you will end up dating one of them, okay? But you need to go into it without that idea. So the whole concept here is that it's a bonus. And I need you to understand that. It's a bonus. The bonus is, hey, you know what? After befriending 30 women at a yoga studio and spending enough time around the women, that one of them might end up liking you. And I say this is dangerous territory for advice because I got to be very careful here. Because a lot of guys will be like, oh, okay, then that means I can just do that with other girls. No. This is more of an odds game. It's a numbers game. It's not about going and finding one girl, befriending that one girl, and eventually that one girl spends enough time around you and likes you. The odds of that are very low, okay? They're very low. Because that girl will just really put you in the friend zone because you guys cultivate this really close relationship, you and this one girl. But if you're cultivating a social circle and you're just kind of getting to know everyone just a little bit, yeah, the odds are that, that's how girls meet guys. I mean, that's how a lot of people meet these days is through social circles. So the girls will get to know you and say, oh, wow, this guy's actually really cool. I actually kind of like this guy because they're spending more and more time around you. But you're not cultivating this very close relationship where you're completely in the friend zone. But again, I'm not telling you to create the social circle so eventually one of them maybe likes you. It's just that's the cool little side effect of what can happen after you do that, okay? But the main idea here is that you make all these friends. You always have something to do. And so now you go with them, they invite you over, you hang out with them, you invite them out to events, they invite you out, they see what you're doing on a Friday night, you go with them, you bring out 3 or 4 girls, and then it's cool. Bring out your guy friends, introduce them to the girls, right? And you're matchmaking, hooking people up with each other. And you have this social circle. And then those girls at the yoga studio, they end up bringing their friends, okay? And now you can kind of work your way with some of those girls. It's kind of like you go to that second tier, okay? Or I should say maybe not second tier. That would put it in a value system. I'd say maybe it's it's just the outer ring of that initial. And then it's another way to meet women. So now instead of just swiping on apps or just doing cold approach, now you've been able to do this kind of social circle meet and greet, which is so powerful. A lot of hard work in the beginning, but then it starts to work for you. It works for you in the sense that there's going to be even more pre-attraction because eventually, let's say one of the girls from yoga class, Stephanie, brings over her friend Ashley, well, she's going to be like, oh yeah, this guy, Trip, he's really cool, he's really fun, like you got to meet him. And so already you're accepted into the group, right? You got that social proof. This is even more social proof, right? I was telling you earlier, okay, bring girls out and then you can kind of cold approach and then girls see you and then it's social proof there. This is like social proof to the next level because you actually have the girl who's friends with you talking about you to the other girl. And then you can meet her that way. And like I said, very specific, it is the side effect or bonus if one of the girls in the immediate social circle ends up liking you. And if it does, go for it. I'm not telling you not to go for it, although it could be sort of dangerous potentially because if you end up hooking up with her or dating her and something happens and then it's, she stops hanging out with you because maybe you guys end up not hooking up anymore, not dating anymore, it gets kind of awkward, it gets kind of weird, whatever the case. But in this situation, where if you're going and you're specifically saying like, oh, I'm going to this one yoga studio, meeting all these girls, it's not necessarily that all those girls, well, definitely not all those girls in the yoga studio are going to be friends with each other. They might start being friends with each other if, you guys are all being very social and you're the one who's like getting everyone together, gathering everyone and hanging out and creating events and things like that. And so that's really cool. But I wouldn't think you'd have to worry about it too much, if you're dating someone within that social circle. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But yeah, so that's kind of your option and that's kind of how it goes if you want to do that. Now, I just picked yoga because that's a story that I heard from someone recently. I never tested it out, but you can pick something else. I mean, yoga seems to be the best because a lot of women do yoga. But if there's another, area, maybe there's another hobby that you're into or something that you're doing consistently where you can, get a lot of girls to be your friends. Maybe it's a class that you're in and you befriend all the women in the class if you're younger and you're in college. If you're older and you're doing, more hobbies, there's meetup groups and things like that. There's always a lot of, different meetups happening, networking groups. And it's just, again, just the idea of making a lot of girlfriends and even having some sort of common theme around the friends. So it's something that you guys are interested in. If you're interested in yoga, that makes sense to make a lot of yoga friends. If you're interested in networking, it makes sense to have a lot of networking friends or maybe another industry that you're in. I think that's pretty cool, very helpful. And another note really is you want to make sure that you are the creator of events. Okay. I like to say creator of events because that's really what you're doing here. You're not going to, make a bunch of friends, let's say at a yoga class and then hope for the best. No, you got to be proactive. That means that you need to be the one who is creating some sort of activity, event. I would say, for example, let's say you make a lot of friends at a yoga class, just invite them out for a happy hour. I'm guessing, women in yoga, maybe they don't drink that much. Maybe they like to eat more like healthy food or vegan food or something like that. It's like, well, get a bunch of them together, bring some of your guy friends. Hopefully, by the way, don't just make only girlfriends at the yoga studio. Make friends with everybody, right? Make friends with the guys too. And then be the guy to collect a bunch of numbers and then bring them out to like a happy hour or like a happy hour at like a vegan spot or somewhere where people would want to go to depending on, you got to know your audience here, but create something, text them, get a mass text going. Don't overwhelm yourself. You know what I mean? Text like 5 to 6 of them. If you made friends with like 10 or 20, it might be tough to just start texting every single person in the group, but invite like 5 to 7 of them, invite them out. Whoever shows up, doesn't matter. And just get going, like build a circle, befriend them, make friends with them, do things outside of the yoga class. So you guys actually become, more friends than just like, people you see at the, weekly or bi-weekly class that you go to, but really, get to know them, be friends with them, create the event, find something to do. It doesn't need to be crazy. Text them and get them out. I want you to be the one who is proactive in all these areas. And it's going to be really cool because you're going to find yourself being the guy that a lot of girls are reaching out to now to see like, what's Trip up to? What's he doing? Like he's always doing something. He's always doing something fun. And then that's going to encourage you to always be finding new and fun things to do. And then, of course, those people are always going to have something going on eventually. Maybe they're not going to be as proactive as you, but, they'll have events or they'll have people over for dinner. You'll be one of the first ones they invite because people will reciprocate. Okay? There is something, I think it's called the law of reciprocation, but it's the idea of reciprocity. And psychologically, I've read this in the book called Influence by Robert Cialdini, is when you do something for someone, they feel this need to reciprocate to you. They feel like a favor is owed. And I don't mean that in a way where, you do something and you expect something in return, or you're actually, saying, hey, let's do a trade and I'll do something for you, you do something for me. Just when you do something out of the kindness of your heart, people feel like they need to do something for you. And this is a good example of that. You're inviting them out all the time and they end up liking you just as a friend. They're going to feel that they got to invite you to their stuff. Not only because they like you, but because they just feel this need and that it needs to happen. Like, oh my God, you've given them so much value that they want to give you value. Okay. And sometimes that reciprocation could come in as a form of, hey, Trip, I know you're single. I have this great girl I want you to meet, right? They'll reciprocate in those ways too, because they know that you're a cool single guy and they've gotten a lot of value from you because you invite them to stuff. You guys are friends. You guys have a good time together, things like that. So it's very powerful, like I said. And again, the big lesson here is that as you take this advice and maybe try this, don't do this to befriend a lot of girls so you can get one of those girls to be attracted to you. If it happens, it happens. And how will you know it happens? Well, you'll know because you'll be able to tell when one of the girls is flirting with you and how much she's texting you and how interested she is. And, she might even just flat out tell you, or maybe one of her friends will tell you, so it will happen, but really don't count on it. And again, that's not the point. Don't forget that if you want coaching, hands-on coaching, I got some programs available, spots open right now. Go to the link to fill out the application to see if you can qualify to become part of the TripAdvice coaching program. I'm back in action here, coaching you, helping you, and all the guys who work with me get amazing results. Girlfriends. I was just working with this one guy. He wanted this girl to start chasing him, a girl that he unfortunately was in a friend zone with, and we got her chasing him and going after him. So that was pretty awesome. And whatever you're looking for in the realm of meeting more beautiful, amazing women, I can help you. So go fill that out, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Peace.